So I think I'm turning around on Night Terrors, by the way.
You're
Yeah.
liking it more and stuff?
I think so. I think because at the start of this, I remember even when we were talking about those first couple weeks, I was like, yeah, the main event is okay, but I could see
Yes.
this series having this event having a lot of potential because the tie-ins could lead to some really unique and creative story stuff. Because I liked the one shot, okay, the First Blood one shot that kicked
Yes.
the whole thing off, but I didn't like the first issue of the core Night Terror series.
You know,
But
it wasn't that good.
yeah, but now it's swipping. Now it's swipping. Jesus.
Flipping.
Now it's flipping to. I think I tried to say swapping and flipping at the same time. Now it's flipping to. I like the core event now, but I don't like the tie-ins very much anymore, for the most part. There are some exceptions. I think this week the quality was okay, but
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll talk about that later.
yeah, I mean, there's only like two more like real weeks of the full event, and then there's a one shot in 3 weeks that wraps up the full event. But then then like the week after we're into the next DC event into Gotham War, so it's like there's no break between DC events, and then like Contest of Chaos has started as well now. So it's Event City out here, man. That's all these two companies do. All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Earth's Mightiest Comics Reloaded, or if you're on Spotify, just Earth's Mightiest Comics. This is the show where every week we talk about the new comics that come out that week and what we think about them. Did we like them? Do we not like them? Is Night Terrors ever going to end? Because it feels like it's been going on for 50 years. This week we'll be going over things such as Night Terrors, as mentioned, new new Avengers issue. A new series from AWA written by J. Michael Straczynski called The Madness. Contest of Chaos starting as well in the Spider-Man annual, and a whole bunch of, well, maybe not a whole bunch of other stuff, but some other stuff as well. Time codes will be below as always here. And what do you think? What do you think about the week as a whole? So far for this week.
Man, dude. Honestly, I mean, I read some pretty not good ones. I won't lie to you.
Yeah.
Silk still not that good.
I'm glad I dropped off that.
Yeah, Silk's still not that good. Honestly, Conscious of Chaos not being what I thought it was gonna be. What else? Guardians kind of let me down this week. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just again not what I thought it was gonna be, and yeah, dude. Yeah.
All right. Well, we can get on into this here. We'll obviously finish with the Night Terrors block. Actually, since you mentioned it, we can maybe just get into Guardians first.
Right.
Do one that we both read to start us off. So I'm not just rambling to start the episode. So why were you not a fan of Guardians this week?
All right. So I thought this was gonna be like into us knowing what group fall really was, but it was a lot of them not even like arguing. It wasn't they weren't arguing, but it was them flying around a war that we knew was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then group fall shows up, and then like everybody gets absorbed into group fall, and then it ends.
Maybe Quill made it through.
I don't know, because even Rocket
we didn't
said
see him get absorbed. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Rocket just said they got Quill, and I'm the last one. And then it kind of seemed to me that like he was inside of Grootfall. That's where we were kind of seeing him.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's kind of up in the air what exactly is happening right now.
Yeah. I think I think this issue may have mismanaged your expectations here because people do not like this, huh? Because the synopsis for the solicitation is the mystery behind Grootfall is revealed, and that just doesn't happen in this issue.
That does not happen at all.
That's supposedly going to happen next issue, but I liked this for what it was. This issue is kind of wrapping up the loose ends from my least favorite issue of the series, issue 2, with the big war between those two factions of the galaxy. Yes. I don't know why that was really included in this series at all, because it didn't seem to have much of a bearing on anything. But I think, I'm glad that it just like they all fucking died, so it's like that plot won't be coming back anymore, and I'm happy about that. I think generally this is still pretty solid. I don't think it's as good as last issues. But I do think they're still really nailing Rocket's characterization, like the whole thing where he's like, "I didn't tell you to save me. Like, you should just left me there to die." Like,
Yeah.
I think his feelings about Grootfall and everything going on there, I think that's still really being nailed in this series. And yeah, other than that, it's just kind of a big action issue. The art I think works pretty well here for the most part. That's the other thing. And then there's the Gods preview page in this one as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Where some dude brings presumably an artifact from the gods to the collector, and he's like, interesting. So I'm still excited for Gods, but that's still obviously a little ways out. I liked this though for the most part. It's not anything, crazy good, but I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Okay, so one thing, did I just like completely blank this part, or did the Gurdons actually show up in Rocket in the last issue, or was he just
Yes, at the very, very end they show up and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go find Groot." I think he's still in there,
Okay.
and he wants to talk to all of us. Yeah.
Damn, bro, because I did not remember that, and then started reading this, I was like, wait, when did they get Rocket? I was like, what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah, it's right at the end of the last issue.
Yeah, I'd give this honestly probably like it's not like I hated it or anything. It's just the fact that like that synopsis is not true at all. It completely lied to us.
Yeah.
And we still have no idea what Grootfall is.
Supposedly, the next issue solicitation says the origin of Grootfall is next issue, but it's like, well, it said that this issue. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I would have given this probably like I would say I'd probably give it like a 7.5, but since it lied, it's getting a 6.5.
All right. Yeah, fair enough. I'm still excited for the series going forward. I think it's
it's not like I just hopefully it doesn't lie to us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess now I'll jump into the only one that I read that you did not read, which is Superman 2023 Annual #1. Yeah, this series is good. It's a little bit weird that this is coming out in the middle of Night Terrors because it's like, Lois and a bunch of the people at the Daily Planet are doing stuff, and like Clark is just, he's out doing stuff, and there's no mention of any of the Night Terror stuff, despite the fact that, as far as we are aware, like Clark and the whole rest of the world for the most part is still asleep. Yeah, this is still a good series. I really like what Joshua Williamson is doing with this series so far. This is a pretty Lois centric issue. Clark does not make many appearances, so it's just kind of her going around and looking into a bunch of stuff, trying to figure out like what Lex Luthor's past as a hero was, because that's been kind of submerged apparently. So yeah, it's her looking for that while Clark is kind of fighting Toyman's robots, but you don't really see too much of them. You don't see too much of that section in this. Brief appearance of Marilyn Moonlight again from issue 2. First time we've seen her since then. I'm really intrigued as to what that character's all about. And then also there's a Brainiac appearance at the end, I think that was Brainiac. Yeah, it was. Which is, I don't really understand what he was on about, because he's like he's got like Lobo's city in a bottle, and he's like, it's Superman's lost city, and I'm like, what? But they just said it was Lobo's, like Sarnia or something. So yeah, Lobo also makes a brief appearance, but I don't have too much to say on this. It's just still really solid. Superman is probably my favorite DC ongoing right now that I can think of. I think it's really great. And this issue is still pretty good. I gave this one a 7.
Nice. All right.
It's pretty dense, though. I'll say it's a pretty dense read. This one.
Yeah.
And not a whole lot really happens. So I think that's why I ultimately dropped it a little bit.
All right. Well, I guess I'll talk about Silk. Man, what is there to say about this one? Yeah, at the end of it might be the end of the last issue or the beginning of this issue. I'm kind of like confusing the two right now. Cindy woke up, and she discovered that the lady fused with the demon person, Jolly. Yeah, Saya and Jolly fused, and now she is the Dream Monster, right? So she flies to the Sanctum Sanctorium, where she meets Wong and her brother. And she's like super tired, obviously, because the Dream Monster was draining her the entire time in her dreams. So And she goes over there, and then she's like, "Hey, I really do. Honestly, I don't even know what happened in the middle here." But then Silk and Wong find the Dream Monster somewhere. I don't remember where. Still, dude. Oh my god, wow. And then the Dream Monster is now invading Silk's brother's dream and trying to kill him.
Okay.
That's where it ended.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, bro. So I just no. Yeah, this is it for me.
You're not gonna read the next issue.
No more Silk for me.
It's the last issue. Next one, Sebastian.
Dude. Honestly, this one was just bad, man. I didn't enjoy this at all. I did not enjoy it. You know what? You got me. I'll read the next one. The full list. God.
You don't have to read it.
It's too late. It's on there. No, but for real, in all seriousness, though, yeah, it was just like I wasn't confused or anything. I'm surprised at how much I don't actually remember from this. Like, I don't remember what building they actually go to find the Dream Demon. Like, there is just so much blank in my memory right now that it just shows to show how much I was not enjoying reading this one at all.
Yeah, I read the first two and I didn't read any farther past that. I just ultimately I didn't think it was awful. I just thought it was really bland, and I kind of liked the first issue, but the second one, once we started getting more into the real world, I was just like, I don't care about this.
Yeah.
So that's where I was with it.
No, yeah, exactly. I think since we're now just purely in the dream world, yeah, dude, I don't. It's just the whole idea behind the fact that oh yeah, and then so Silk told Saya's brother, right, Max, that she fused the Dream Demon. He's like, oh, that can't be, she was supposed to control the Dream Demon. Like, bro, when does that ever go right? Like, oh, I'm gonna control the demon. Oh no, the demon took control of me.
Yeah,
that's how it is. That's just, yeah, nah, bro. Yeah, it's getting a 5.
Okay. Yeah, I am not sad that I have decided to not keep reading this.
Yeah.
Okay, what should we move on to next? Let's do Avengers next.
Avengers, all right.
I think this is still pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I will say, this issue it's not really, there's not much going on here. It's just kind of a general battle issue, and since it's split across
everybody.
Yeah, 5 of the Avengers are fighting one-on-one fights right now in the series, so you don't really get much of any of them. It's just they show up, and then the person they fight against is like, ooh, you may be powerful, but I'm more powerful. And then there's a big splash page of them doing something big and cool that makes the Avengers in trouble. I think really where this arc is gonna come together or possibly fall apart is in the next issue when Sam and T'Challa are kind of more. Actually, it may not even be next issue. Next issue might just still be another battle issue. Whenever we get to the point where T'Challa and Sam are actually talking to the ship and getting more kind of figuring more stuff out in terms of that and how the Ashen Combine is there and why they're part of the Tribulation events and maybe what the next one is. I think that's when this is going to start kind of getting more cohesive. But I think both this issue and the previous one. It's just kind of, the previous one was just setting up this fight between all these people, and then this one is just the start of that. And so as a result, it does feel kind of hard to, to talk about this on its own terms, and also to rate it on its own terms. So ultimately, I just gave it a 7. I don't have much to say on this one. I think it's well written. I like the art a lot. I think it's good so far. But this one, as a middle chapter, feels a little bit hard to rate on its own. So I just gave it a 7.
No, yeah, exactly. It's just the middle. Yeah. Still love the art, like you said. Story is being written well. Yeah, it's just it's super middle because it's like you said, just everybody's one-on-one fights, and we only get 2-3 pages max. I feel so it's the fight doesn't really, not a lot happens in these fights. But so yeah, I'd agree with the 7 too.
Yeah.
It wasn't good, wasn't bad. It's just the middle, and it's just not a lot happens.
Yeah. I will say I like the new villains. I think they're interesting.
They certainly are
Interestingly
interesting.
designed, yeah, and they have kind of some interesting power sets and personalities there. Okay, do you want to do Contest of Chaos? Because I wasn't able to find this one.
Yeah, I'll do. Yeah, Spider-Man Annual #1. It's the first. Is that the first one of Contest of Chaos?
Technically, there was the prelude in Scarlet Witch Annual a couple months ago. I read that one and talked about that one.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was. I don't know if the setup was super necessary there. I think it was mostly probably fine if you didn't read that.
Well, yeah. So this one starts with Spider-Man stopping Rhino, and when he's going back to his apartment, climbing through the window, he gets transported to El Dorado, technically.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he's like exploring it, and then Wolverine like punches him through a window and stuff because he thought he was fake or whatever.
Yeah.
And so when Wolverine realizes that Spider-Man's like actually real, they're exploring El Dorado, and they come across a glowing purple orb, and it like I want to say it like enchants them, but yeah, I'd say enchants them. And they basically are both like, I need this orb, and they fight each other for like 2 pages, and then Wolverine teleports away, and Spider-Man meets up with Jessica Jones.
Oh, okay.
And asks her for advice on what he should do, and then you just see Wolverine with Agatha.
Okay. Yeah, I'm planning to read this and the rest of the event. If this can even be called an event, it doesn't feel like one. And I say that I've not read this issue, but I do not get the feeling based on where this event is taking place in, and just a bunch of these annuals. And I just feel like it's not going to have much bearing on the rest of the universe, which is fine. But I also I feel like it doesn't feel like super kind of impactful. But I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna see if I can find this one at my comic shop this week. And then I'll catch up next week when the Iron Man one comes out. But I don't see myself loving this. I see it being pretty bland, generic, just hero versus hero fight because reasons.
Yeah, honestly, and even the hero versus hero fight, it wasn't even that good. Like he literally, it was like I was expecting a lot more. I don't know, man, but I realistically I didn't enjoy the fight even that much.
Yeah,
it wasn't even that good of a fight. Like it was literally like Wolverine scratched Spider-Man's chest, which like honestly looked like a graze at most, and that was it. Like that was literally it, and it was just man, this one's got to be like I'm gonna give it a 6. I'm gonna settle with a 6. Settle with a 6.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you go below 5, then that means this one is worse than Silk, and I didn't think that was the case.
No,
based on
I
was
was debating between 6 and 5.5, but I was like, I think I'm gonna settle with the 6.
Yeah. All right. What should we do? Let's do Spirit World next.
Spirit World.
I think this is my least favorite issue of the series. That being said, I still think it's pretty solid.
Man.
That being said, I don't remember a whole lot of what happened in this one.
Okay, this one I really skimmed through.
Yeah, I think this was mostly just a big fight issue as well.
That's what I remember a lot from. They were exploring the apartment, which we know is overtaken or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot of fighting.
I know Cass and Constantine get like their powers turned against them, and also against Xanthi. That's at the very end. We don't see we don't see the actual fight between them yet.
Oh, okay.
I think it's solid. I don't think the character stuff is as prominent in this issue, and that's what I was really liking about the rest of it. I mean, the art's still really good.
I still enjoy the art, yes.
Yeah. But this one again, I really don't have much to say on this one. I do think because of the just straight up fight, which was fine, but not anything really cool, like that amazing or special. and the lack of interesting character interactions in this issue, I do feel like it's definitely the weakest of the bunch so far. I still think it's solid. I'm still gonna keep pulling the series. There's only 2 issues left.
Yeah.
But this one, I think this one did drop it a little bit from the previous couple, and so I gave this one a 6 out of 10 total. Still pretty decent, but not to the same level.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Certainly, I will agree that this one certainly dropped off from the other ones. I mean, you certainly enjoyed this series more than I have. I know that. I still really enjoy the art. But yeah, this one. Oh man, I was gonna give this one a 6.
Yeah.
That's why I was debating with the other one with whether it should be a 5.5. But
yeah,
I'm gonna stick with 6. And then I really don't have much to say on this one.
Yeah. Wow, this might be a short episode. I feel like a lot of this stuff. That's what I was thinking going into this. I was like, I think the quality across the board for this week was not terrible. It was pretty solid, but so much of this, I'm just like, I don't really have much to say on a lot of the ones coming out this week. That might change when we get to Night Terrors, though. This next one, though, I think I do have a little bit more to say on, because I think we are up to the last one before the Night Terror stuff starts, which would be the Madness #1. Actually, no, there's 2 more before. So let's do Madness first, though.
Okay.
Because it is less issues to talk about. This is the one that I made Sebastian read this week.
Yes.
What did you think of it?
I certainly liked this one better than the one you made me read last week.
Right, that was Sacrificers last week. Right?
Yes. Yeah. This one just had more going for it. It just had a bit more. It explained, I feel like, a lot more. Not a bit more. It explains a lot more about what was actually going on. And this one kind of gave me like not Invincible vibes, but like a mix between The Boys and Invincible, where it's like they don't care about like the casualties, they just want to get rid of their problems in a sense,
Yeah.
And which is exactly what they did. The main character, if I read this correctly, the main character is Rob's. It's like a thief.
Yeah, she's like a Robin Hood kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she steals from the rich for herself.
Yeah, she doesn't give to the poor. She just takes it for herself.
But she steals from the rich to the point that she's like, and the way she explained it was, I steal from the rich when they like an amount that they wouldn't even notice.
Right.
Is what she said. And so, but she has superpowers as well. So she can be invulnerable. She can fly. She can have super strength, I think.
Yes, but she can only use one of those at a time.
Yeah, and she can. There's a couple more that I just don't remember them, but she can only use them one at a time. And at the very end of the issue, you see, I think, the heroes, right?
Yeah, essentially the Justice League equivalent in this series.
Yeah, so they basically like bring to a vote and like just nuke her cabin where she's staying at with her family.
Yep.
And she survives. And
then like has a weird transformation. I didn't really understand what was going on there. I was like, all right.
Yeah,
cool,
I guess it was like, I think it's like what the title of the comic is, like the madness like seeped in and like just transformed her into someone else.
Like the personification. Yeah. I think this is pretty cool, man. I think this was good. So this writer, J. Michael Straczynski, he is probably most well known for, at least in the comic world, for writing a very long run on Amazing Spider-Man, which ended with the infamous One More Day story where MJ and Peter's whole relationship was erased from continuity to save Aunt May. I haven't read that run, but I'd always heard that he was a very good writer. He's going to be writing the new Captain America series coming up as well. That starts next month, so I'm excited for that. But I think this was good. I think it's a dense read.
It is a lot. Yes.
But I think it was well written. I think the exposition got what was required across without like really just beating it over the head. And towards that back end, when the plot kind of starts kicking in more into gear, I think it picks up really well. And this is this my pick of the week?
Man, that's tough. Because I think, and if it's not this, it's something in Night Terrors.
I'm with you there. I
Yeah.
just don't know because they're about on par with each other right now. I think I'm gonna give it to this though. I think I'll put this as my pick of the week.
All
I
right.
gave us
All
I
right.
give us an I gave us an 8 out of 10.
No, yeah, this was really good. I'd give it probably like I'd give it 8.5.
Yeah.
But I've uncovered the transformation here in the synopsis. Apparently, that thing is so it's a hidden side of her personality, an
Okay.
imaginary friend who may be more real than she believes.
Gotcha.
That's how it is. That's how it
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really good.
Good.
I quite enjoyed this one.
I've still given you much more hits than misses.
Yeah, I mean, but then again,
Last week was a little bit. That was, I think, the worst one I've made you read.
it definitely was. It definitely was. And
Yeah.
it wasn't bad per se. It's just
Yeah.
nothing happened.
Yeah. It was just a little bit. I was like, okay, what are we doing here?
Yeah, that's the only even thing. It was just nothing happened.
Yeah, I'm excited for this series going forward, though. It should be. It's one I'm looking forward to. The next issue comes out the same day that the new Daredevil series starts, so that'll be something. All right. Anything else to say on the Madness before we move on to House of
No.
Slaughter? Okay.
No.
House of Slaughter is next. I read 5. You read 2. Is the one you made me read.
Yes.
Where are you on this one? It's obviously not as good as Something Is Killing the Children, but
No, definitely not as good. This one focuses more, at least the first two so far, have focused on what's his face?
Aaron.
Aaron. Basically, this was kind of like a prequel.
Kind of. The timeline of this is just. I think that's part of the reason why I'm not super invested, at least with the first arc.
Yeah.
Because this is set in 2 different time periods. The first period is way, way long ago, like 15 years in the past, when Aaron was training at the House of Slaughter.
Yep.
Erica was around by this point, but she's not in it much.
Yes. No.
And it's him and Jace as they start a relationship. This other character, Jace, as he comes in, they start a relationship, and it reveals more, but essentially there's a kind of a whole thing that Jace has another plan. He has an ulterior motive for being at the House of Slaughter.
Yeah.
And then there's also the other side of it, which is in not the present, because if you recall, and spoilers for the first 10 issues of Something Is Killing the Children, but Aaron is dead in that series, so it's not in the present. But it's closer to the present as Aaron is sent on a mission to kill Jace and stuff going on there. So I don't know. I thought this was okay. I don't think it was terrible, and I liked the first issue a lot. And then I got kind of diminishing returns, and then I think it picked up in issue 5 again. And there's some very high points in the series overall. And I only read the first 5, so I don't know. Maybe it changes drastically. But there's a really good conversation between Jessica and Aaron in issue 4 that I think was really well written. That was great. There's some pretty good action in issue 3 and also in issue 5. But I think ultimately I just have a hard time caring about Aaron because I just these characters are, we don't know what happened. We didn't know what happened to Jace, but we knew what happened to Aaron. So it's why do I really care about this stuff that's happened in the past? I don't know. The series didn't really give me a reason to care. I think it's mostly well written, and I think their relationship is well written, but I just don't care about these characters. Just we kind of know what happens to them.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, since I only read the first 2 issues, Aaron's after Jace. I learned that. I assume that he's after Jace because Jace decided to leave the House of Slaughter, kind of like Erica did.
Not entirely. There's more to it than that.
There's more to it? All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, obviously Jace has a plan, some sort of plan, because he's super interested in the dragon.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it, really.
Yeah. I think I might give this is not terrible, like I said. It's not the worst thing you've made me read.
Yeah.
But I think I might give us more because I do know that the next arc, starting with issue 6, because I read the entirety of the first arc.
Yes. Yeah.
The next arc focuses on a completely different character who was not in Something Is Killing the Children at all. It's a completely different new character. So I think that could be more interesting because we don't know what happens to him. As long as that character is interesting and well written in his own right, I think that could work pretty well. But yeah, I do have kind of a hard time caring about prequels where we already know the character is going to die. So God, I'm kind of also sitting in a 6 for the series as a whole that I've read so far. Again, like not terrible. There's some high points there. I genuinely I think there's some really good stuff.
Yeah.
But I think as a whole it didn't quite come together for me.
I'd probably give it like a 7. I'll give it a 7. Considering what I read, which wasn't a lot, it wasn't bad by any means. It was just you kind of know what's going on already a little bit well, I don't know. We know what's gonna happen to Aaron, so I can't really get too invested into him.
Yeah.
Jace, I'm more invested in because I don't really know what his plan is at this point.
Jace is kind of cool. I do kind of like Jace's character, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I plan on finishing this first arc at least, and then we'll see if I continue on to more.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. That means it's Night Terrors o'clock.
We're back.
Okay. So the first one up for this week is the other one that I was thinking maybe is my pick of the week. I actually like this one a lot. Night Terrors 3.
Night Terrors number 3.
So this now marks we are past the halfway point of the core series. There's one more issue of the core just self-titled Night Terror series, and then there's Night Terrors Night's End, which is the one shot that wraps everything up. This was good. I liked it a lot. Yeah. I think my complaints with this core series at the start of it was that I found Deadman to be kind of an irritating lead. And I think that's true when he's on his own, but I think when he's bouncing off other characters, he gets a lot more tolerable, kind of a Deadpool syndrome in a way.
Yeah.
And so when last issue introduced the Sandman, Wesley Dodds, I was like, okay, cool. I'm kind of more into this now. This is more interesting. And now this issue brings Damian into the mix, which, I mean, Damian's probably my least favorite Robin. I don't really like Damian that much, but I think he works here, especially since, Boston is still in Bruce's body, which I do want to get to later in a second as well, because I have some questions about that versus what we read last week. But I think that works as him bouncing off of Damian there, and then they go into this weird dreamscape, and we're learning more about insomnia as well. It seems like the Justice League did something that really fucked him up. Which is interesting. Yeah. The whole thing with him everything with insomnia in this issue is really cool and creepy, and I'm into it, and I want to learn more about him now. Whereas before, he's not in the issue much, but I feel like his presence is felt more now than it was.
Now that we're knowing more about his backstory.
Right, I care more. Yeah.
Exactly.
And now they found the Nightmare Stone as well.
They found the Nightmare Stone in the House of Nightmares.
Yeah, I will say, so it's not in the dream world, it's in some other weird limbo world.
It's in the between point between the real world and the dream world.
Yes.
In between.
That kind of makes me like the rest of this series less, though, because it's like, well, now really, what was the point in any of these fucking tie-ins? Because the Nightmare Stone was just not in any of them, so it's like...
No, but Insomnia thought it was, because that's where the Dream guy told him it was.
I know, and that's fine in the core series, but I think as it relates to the tie-ins now, I'm just like, I've read so many of these goddamn things, and none of them mean anything now. So
honestly, I feel like none of these are ever going to make sense until we get to the last one, right? Because all of the tie-ins end with number 2, and all of them are going to tie in at the very end with Night Terror's Night's End. Really, a lot of them say Night's
Joker's
End.
Not. We know for a fact that Joker's not.
Yeah, I don't know.
And neither is Poison Ivy. A lot of them last week don't seem like they're going to have any bearing on it.
Yeah, some of them some of the villain ones I feel like have nothing to do with it at all.
I think most of the ones this week are bringing back into it. I don't remember if the Flash is going to jump. Probably is going to be.
I think that one was Night's End. I think Shazam's was Night's End.
Shazam was. Robin was, I think. I know Green Lantern was. And I think Zatanna must have been. So. But yeah, I thought that was really good. I will say the one thing, though. It did say at the end of Night Terror's Batman 2 last week, it said to be continued in Night Terrors 3 and 4, and that one ended with Bruce waking up, supposedly, right?
Supposedly, yes.
And that just we got no continuation on that this week. So I am a little bit
No.
like, when is that gonna come back into play? I'm like probably next week, but maybe not even until Night's End. Like next week seems to be gonna be, or not next week, but the next issue seems like it's gonna be focused pretty heavily on like revealing Insomnia's backstory.
Yeah.
Fully. So I don't know, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I like this issue quite a lot. I think this was the best issue of the series so far.
Of the core series?
The core series, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% there. I think the Batman in the red suit in the Limbo world was also
That was cool.
that was really nice.
Yeah.
Really well drawn. It was like
That was a
Deadman
good design.
colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, since Deadman was in Batman's body. What's his name? Is it Sandman, right?
Yeah, Sandman Wesley Dodds is the
Yes.
name of the person, because there's the Sandman that's more popular, which is the Neil Gaiman one, who's just, his name is Dream. He's like one of the like primordial beings. This is not the same Sandman as that one, but yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, him. He was the one that took him to that Limbo world because of a sleep gas he had created. And what? Yeah, that's pretty much all that's really happened in this one.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was good though. Liked it.
Yeah, I gave it an 8 as well.
Gave it an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. 8.
So would that mean that you would put the Madness as your pick of the week then? Because you gave the Madness an 8.5.
8.5. Yeah. I'd say Madness was my pick of the week for sure.
Yeah, it's close though. I do think this really this gave it kind of a run for its money. I think this was a really good one. Anything else on Night Terrors 3?
Terrors 3, nope.
Okay. On to Night Terrors Green Lantern number 2.
Lantern.
To its credit, this is better than issue 1 was.
Issue 1, yes.
Because this is actually like, it's an actual plot instead of just the greatest hits of Green Lantern to catch you up on like what his deal is.
Yeah.
There's some really cool art in this as well. There's a couple of really cool double page spreads where Hal Jordan is just beating the shit out of Parallax.
Yeah.
I do kind of like Hal's whole kind of attitude of like, man, I'm just a fun-loving guy. I know this is a dream. You're not scaring me. I'm a Green Lantern because I have this insane willpower. Like,
yeah, see,
you should be scared of me, and he just fucking wallops him the whole issue.
I liked the idea that like, he isn't. That wasn't like Insomnia thought like all of these were his fears, but he himself said like these aren't fears. Like I have no fear. These are just things that I had to overcome.
Right.
And he just brought them out, and I've already overcome them. So obviously I'm in control now.
Yeah, and then the dream just ends up being like the dream just gets terrified of Hal and starts like running away from him. It's like that was fun. I thought. This still has that Sinestro backup story that I still do not give two shits about.
Yeah, me neither. I skimmed through that so fast that I couldn't even tell you what happened.
Yeah, it's that I don't think that was great, but this is gonna continue a trend. I don't have much to say about this one either. But it was definitely better than the first one.
Definitely better than the first one.
Yeah, I think it was, well written. I like this writer. And I think the art was really good here. I gave this one a 7.
7.5 for me.
Okay. You should really read the Core Green Lantern series. It's only 2 issues so far. It's really good.
Yeah, I know. I gotta get on that one.
Yeah.
Gotta get on that one.
You have anything else to say on this one?
Nope.
Okay, then we are on to Night Terrors Robin.
Is it Robin's next? All right.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't much enjoy it more or less than the first one, honestly.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was kind of, I wouldn't say stupid or anything, but it was just the fact that like the whole premise was like, hey, we got to work as a team, man. Like that's it. Like I'm a failed Robin, you're a Robin that thinks he's failed. Like we're basically one and the same. Let's work together to get out of here.
Yeah.
And it was just like, man, kind of dumb. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, again, some solid art, I think. But this is another one. I don't remember much about this one actually. I read this a couple days ago, and it's fine. It's solid. It's whatever. And this was another one that it's just like Yep, it's pretty generic. I
Yeah.
think that's going to be a real problem with the wrap ups to a lot of these miniseries. I think it's all going to be a lot of like, well, you thought I was afraid of this, but actually I've overcome this fear, and this is all in the past, and now I'm going to beat you up. Like this one felt like it. Green Lantern felt like it. I think to a certain extent, a lot of these issue number 2s are going to feel that way. And I think this one was not as well executed as some of the others. I also just these aren't my 2 favorite Robins. I like Tim,
Yeah.
and I don't really have any feelings on Jason. So I just kind of I'm just don't care about this one too much. I gave this one a 6.
Yeah, I was also gonna give this a 6. It's
so mid.
Yes,
it's so mid,
very
Sebastian. Next one is good though, I think.
This next one, Flash?
It's Shazam.
Ah, Shazam.
Number 2. I liked the first one, and I liked this one too. It was again similar kind of thing of like, oh, you're in my dream. This is my rules, and I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. But it was, I think it was more interesting than that, than the execution of the previous types of those. For one thing, we see Mary going into other her family's other dreams.
Yeah, she could travel between her family's dreams and like basically help them out of their nightmare.
Yeah,
and then they helped her out of her nightmare.
Yeah. Which that was kind of a nice. It was a little bit saccharine, a little bit, kind of like, this is cheesy, and we're all family, and we're gonna help you out now. But I think it worked well enough. I think Mark Waid is really good at writing that kind of stuff. But I think where this issue really excels, first of all, there's more really good art. There's a page, there's a double page spread where Billy like punches Mary through a whole bunch of dreams.
Oh yeah. I think it was all of the family's dreams, like the different
that might have been
ideas behind her family dreams.
Yeah.
Her family's dreams.
But so I don't know for sure if I said this last week, but I think I said that Billy was actually real, that was real Billy in her dreams.
Yeah. You did say that.
So I think this was a situation of like he succumbed to his dreams. Or his worst nightmare was that he just ended up killing everybody because he's like so powerful that's something that could happen. And it's not like a Superman thing where like to Superman, I don't think that even occurs to him. Superman is such a good guy that would never like. There's no danger of that ever happening with him. But Billy's a kid, right? So if that kind of, if that power really did kind of corrupt him, that's a real possibility. And so. So then at the very end, once the dream is over, Billy's still there, and I think that's the creepiest part of this whole issue is Billy just standing outside there in the black suit, just laughing his ass off, and then he just takes off, and Mary's like, oh shit, how the hell is he here? Like, what the fuck is going on? So I think that was a really effective cliffhanger, which is said it's going to be resolved in Night's End. But also that's kind of mirroring stuff that's been happening in the core Shazam series, which it's also good, which I think you should read that as well. I think this one it's solid. I think this is, other than the core issue, I think this is the best of the Night Terror stuff this week.
Yeah, I'd agree with that actually.
Okay. I give it an 8.
Yeah, I'd give it a 7.
Okay. Yeah, solid stuff on that front. I think it helped that talking about some of these ones now, I'm like, I think what it actually was, I thought the quality was pretty high this week, just as I read a lot of the ones that were good first, and then so I kind of was like, give me a good first impression of the week, but a lot of the other ones are maybe not as good. Then we have Night Terrors with Flash.
This one I didn't think was terrible, honestly.
I didn't like this one.
What?
Yeah.
Nah.
This is my least favorite of the Night Terrors for this week, I think.
Okay. I mean, honestly, no, I'd agree with that statement. Like, it's definitely the worst of the week, but in that aspect, I didn't think it was, like, bad by any means, right? Barry becoming, like, this weird deformed, like, thing. Not even, like, thing, it was person, because of how often he tried saving Wally.
Yeah.
And then him, like, basically ripping Reverse Flash's chest open. Mm-hmm. Although that was a pretty sick looking like image. And then we learned that the monster that Barry kept saying was just himself.
That's not a difficult thing to call though. That was
No,
pretty obvious from last
it was
week. Yeah.
obviously it was gonna happen. Yeah, and then oh man, I don't even remember. Does he wake up? I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, what happens is like there's not even really a resolution to the dream in this. He just sees the nightmare monster thing, and then
Yeah.
Wally just somehow wakes him up in the real world, and then that's kind of it just ends. Yeah.
That's right. Oh no, God, you're right. This one's dumb. I forgot about that ending. Honestly.
Yeah. I don't know. I was kind of bored through this, and the art, like, clearly this is intentional, right? Like, this is not a knock on the artist, but the art is just like really gross for a lot of it.
Yeah.
It was just kind of unpleasant to look at, and again, not enough to the artist. Clearly that was by design, but yeah, I just kind of was bored by this, and the art was kind of just, the art was kind of throwing me off a little bit. And yeah, on the whole, it just kind of this one did not click with me. This one really and I liked the first issue for this one, but this one did not click with me. I gave this one a 5. This was my least favorite of the week, I think.
Yeah, honestly, I forgot about the ending. I really did not like that ending. I remember that now.
Yeah.
The fact that Wally just woke him up and we didn't really get an end to Barry's dream.
Yeah.
I liked some of the art. I did like the whole Zoom thing. Deformed Barry was, it was a thing. I just liked the idea that the more he tried to save him, save Wally, the more he turned into this weird seed creature thing.
Oh yeah, he's the reason that Wally died in the dream. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I wouldn't give this a 5. I'd give this probably a 6 still.
Yeah, fair enough. This one it did not do it for me. Okay, so then the final issue for the week
one
is Night Terror Zatanna. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't remember much of it, but I thought it was pretty. I think the art's good. I
think so it was Zatanna running through the maze, running away from the Lord of Rust.
Yeah,
which is the Lord of Rot, I think it is actually.
Yeah, the deformed version of the nightmare version of Robot Man. Yeah.
Yes. She gets trapped by her dead father. A nightmare version of him, at least.
Yep.
Whatever.
Zatara. Yeah.
Yep. And what else? Let's see. She tricks the Queen Lady into stabbing her, steals her sword, and then turns Robot Man into Robot Man.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I don't remember how this issue fully ends. But I think
it's basically they team up and are just gonna go kick ass. That's it.
This writer is the person who's writing the Unstoppable Doom Patrol series, which I read the first issue of, and I didn't love it, so then I just decided not to get any more. But that being said, I would 100% read a series that was a team up between Zatanna and Robot Man, just like those two by this writer. I would definitely read that. This is another one I don't have much to say. It's gonna kind of go out on a anticlimactic note. I think this one it's pretty good though. I think it was solid. I think it's other than the core Night Terrors event, I think this is the second best of the tie-ins this week. I would say Green Lantern is above this one for me. Okay. I give this the same score as Green Lantern. I give it a 7, but I think this one just kind of edges it out barely for me.
I'm still gonna give this a 6 as well.
Okay. Wow, lots of 6s for you today.
Honestly, lots of 6s, because I gave Silk a 5, right, and nothing can be below 5. But I don't want to give Silk a 4 because it wasn't honestly it was that bad. I wouldn't mind giving it a 4 actually, but it's gonna stay at 5, and the rest are just it doesn't warrant a 5.5, so it's staying at 6.
All right, yeah, fair enough. Well, we already kind of discussed what we thought about Night Terrors as a whole after this week, but yeah, generally I think the core event is pretty good now.
Yeah, it's getting better. It's getting better.
But the tie-ins are getting worse. Or maybe not worse, but I'm getting tired of them.
I'm tired of the tie-ins, honestly. Yeah.
Not even one.
I think honestly, one tie-in per thing would have been fine. Like if we only got one, Night Terrors, Green Lantern, just one of them.
Yeah.
Or
even if we got 2 a week, instead of 5 a week. There's too many of them. And some of them probably didn't need to have tie-ins. I didn't mind the Punchline one, but it's why does Punchline have a tie-in to this? Why Why is she one who's getting one? Like, why did we need a Poison Ivy one? I like the first Poison Ivy tie-in for that a lot, but I was like, still, like, why is this? Why do we need a Joker one? Like, why are some of these ones? I'm not sure why they decided to make tie-ins with these characters. Anyway, that wraps up our episode for this week. Next week, a little bit more exciting, but also in a bittersweet way, because the next week is the final issue of Chip Zdarsky and Marco Cicchetto's Daredevil run with Daredevil 14. That series has been great all the way through. I've provided Sebastian a reading list so we can read some of that, because that series is just really great. Also, more Night Terrors, of course, and more Contest of Chaos. And also something Stealing the Children has a new issue next week as well. So yeah, there's some stuff coming on next week. Thank you everybody for watching or listening to this episode. If you are on Spotify, you can follow the show if you're enjoying it, and let a friend know if you're enjoying it as well, because that's probably the best way that we can, that's probably the best way to help the show at this point. If you want to get in touch with us through if you're on the Spotify audience, you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at earthsmightiestcomicspod@gmail.com. That's all one word with no apostrophe in the word Earths. If you're on YouTube, thank you for watching here. You can like and subscribe and hit the bell notification if you really want to know when we put new videos up. And of course, you can leave a comment as well, letting us know what you thought of this week's issues and what you're excited for the upcoming issues. Yeah, thanks again for listening and watching, everybody. We will see you in the next episode.